What's up everyone, Gids here for another video on Crystal of Atlan, and today it's going to be PvP tips and tricks for the Scytheguard. So if you're a Scytheguard main, this is for you. I hope you guys could climb in PvP this time around. Alright, so let's go. Okay, first up, just to show you, I'm climbing right now in Diamond. So Diamond 1 already, we're close to Master. After we get to Master, we get to work on other characters as well so that we're not just a Scytheguard main. Okay, so 500, almost 600 matches right here. And when it comes to equipment, if you're looking for equipment for PvP, it's going to be HP when it comes to Relic, Seal, and Talisman. Okay, this thing for me is skill damage because I haven't changed it to pink gear yet. But this is the same thing that CrazySola, top 1 Scytheguard in Asia, is also using. All right, let's get into the practice ground for more combos and other tips and tricks. Okay, first things first is camera settings, because this is like the default that everyone sees, right? So if you go to my camera settings, there's not a lot of things in here. So I'm on 3D RPG camera so that I can look up and down versus the 2.5D, where it's kind of wide, but you can't look up and down. Everything here is on, but I don't even know what they do. Next, we have default camera distance at 100 always. So this is your max FOV basically. And then disabled everything down here because these things can get pretty annoying. Okay? So one trick that you can actually do is you can aim down. Right? So you can actually aim down. So this is what's making it seem like I have a very wide field of view. Right? I am aiming down. And then you can also press tab on PC to target lock so that whenever you're aiming down, whenever you aim down, it's still going to keep your enemies in view. Okay? So that's for my camera settings. Alright? Alright, starting off with the tips. At the start of the battle, you actually have a 10-second timer for a barrier to come down. So what you can do within those 10 seconds is to actually use your skill. Flurry right here, you can actually hold it to charge, right? You can hold it to charge and you can use middle mouse button to cancel. So middle mouse button is for PC. I'm not sure for others. But yeah, this thing, you cannot actually rebind it. So it's stuck with middle mouse button. So yeah, what you can do is you can just hold it and then cancel, hold and cancel. So you can see here, we're actually getting stacks of New Moon here. So 3 seconds before the barrier drops, I use it and then I use a dash to go forward. So what this does for you is that you get a 20-second buff for plus 18.9% increased damage. It's actually huge, especially at the start of the fight. If you're looking to trade with your enemies, like using Soul Link plus Arclight Cross right here, that damage is huge. Like, it's almost bringing them to their HP threshold right away. So that's just at the start of the fight. Okay, so 20-second buff for your Scytheguard at the start of the match. Actually huge. Next up, if you still didn't know, basic attack for the Scytheguard can knock up the enemies, and you can do this one for 2 rotations. So the end of the rotation is when you see your puppet actually do the dashing skill, right? So this is one right here. That's the end, and we start here again. Okay? Some things you want to understand as well is that the first 2 will not knock them out, or actually first 3, but the fourth hit will be able to actually knock the enemies up. Okay? So keep that in mind if you're trying to trade basic attacks with the enemy. Alright? The thing with this one is that if you use basic attack and they just use a simple skill, whatever skill, they can actually super armor out of it, because basic attacks will not have an armor break. Alright? But it will stagger. Next tip is that if you caught your enemy in basic attack rotations, make sure to use your abilities at the end of the basic attack rotation. Okay? So after the Scytheguard or after the puppet does the dash ability, because if you notice it here, the enemy will be knocked up in the air for a little bit more. So they're suspended in the air for a little bit. So that's like your window to be able to cast abilities, high damaging abilities. So some of the high damaging abilities that I like using at the end of combos is usually this thing right here, Arclight Cross and Photon Blast at the end of the combos. Okay? So these things deal a lot of damage and bring enemies down to their HP threshold really fast. Okay? So yeah, it goes over even. It even goes over. So that's for Arclight Cross, and this time let's do Photon Blast, right? So this makes you hit your skills more consistent if you hit them at that point, okay? Again, goes over. it goes over. So those are like your heavy hitting abilities when it comes to your kit. Okay, you guys also know that casting abilities will be costing energy. So, for example, right here, we'll be using up a lot of our energy right here. But if you look at this one, we are 0 energy, right? But as soon as we have like a little bit, like 5 energy right here, or that's 1. Okay, that's 1. 1 energy, you will be able to cast anything. So this is really good to be saved up, especially for the end of your combos, right? Especially for the high damaging abilities again that I mentioned, like Arc-like Cross, Flurry, Photon Blast. Those things can take advantage of using like your 1 energy left. You can also do the same thing with ult, because ults will cost like 70 energy, if I remember correctly. Right, so we're draining our energy here. Okay, so that's our energy right here. Oh. Okay, so if you keep basic attacking, right, we still have our ult. At the end of our basic attack animation, we can ult him here and actually continue until protection. But yeah, okay, make sure to use your energy efficiently as possible if you can. Next up, we have triple jump tech. So triple jump tech is a pretty nice ability so that you will be able to hit like Soul Link and Photon Blast in the air, because these things are really nice to be used in the air. So what you can do is just hold your left mouse button, okay? So this is how you do it. Hold your left mouse button to do a charge attack and then double jump at the end of it. While you're in max range, you can actually do this for like almost, I don't know, almost 8-10 seconds. Almost half of dash ability. So when you're at half, you can get up here and you can actually wait for your dash ability to regen, and then you can just dash into them, right? You can use like 2 to 3 dashes to hit the enemies. And the range of Soul Link is actually pretty huge, right? So if you look at this one, the range of it is pretty huge and it's almost an instant hit as well. Comparing it to a Photon Blast has a lesser range. So just keep that one in mind. So what you can do as well is you can do a combo of Soul Link plus Photon Blast in the air. So if you have them both in your same keybinds, right? You can actually do that. So yeah, you can hit them from there. The problem with Photon Blast is that if you're casting it down here, there's actually a slight delay on animation because of the sight that has to fall down before it hits the enemy. But if you use this one in the air, even with just a double jump, it almost instantaneously hits. The same with how Soul Link hits, but yeah, it's still not that consistent and enemies will be easily dodging it. Okay? Next tech is just animation canceling. So a lot of the skills that we have can be animation canceled. I think everyone already knows that you can animation cancel with dash. So, right? You can stop your abilities with dash. The problem is that if you're using dash in PvP is that it's using up your stacks, right? So you are limited to 3 stacks of dash and it has a very long cooldown. So what you can do is to actually just use spacebar or jump, right? Using jump will animation cancel almost everything, okay? So this is pretty important, especially for like a skill like Arc-like Cross, because it has very long animation, right? You're stuck in a very long animation with Arc-like Cross, but if you use it and instantly jump, you can actually get out of the animation right away. Okay? So you can also do this one with your Flurry, but the problem is that it goes on cooldown, right? So it's better to cancel Flurry with just your middle mouse button. What I discovered as well is that when you jump and cast Photon Blast, it still has like a slight animation delay. But if you actually animation cancel it, cast Photon Blast and then jump, it's almost instant. It's actually almost instant as well. So I want to try this out in actual PvP in the future, but yeah, that's almost an instant hit. The only problem with Photon Blast here again is that limited range, right? The limited range. So its range is not that good. It's almost the same range as Flurry, right? Almost the same range as Flurry. So yeah, look at that. Almost instant. It's almost like a freaking Soul Link, right? So that's pretty good right there. Okay? So animation cancel with spacebar or jump is much better than using your dashes, but sometimes you can still just use your dash instead if you're trying to dodge something from the enemy as well. Okay, another tech is the Sola tech. So this is what CrazySola actually showed in the show match before. So this is with regards using Ancient Echoes. Because if you look at Ancient Echoes, it's a really good zoning ability. But if you are not using it as a part of your combo, it's just really a zoning ult. Because it has a huge range, but no one's going to enter that range. So what you do is you force the enemies to take all those hits. It's just basic attack, Ancient Echoes jump, cancel, and then basic attack. Continue basic attacking. Alright? So it actually takes them to their protection as well. So something to keep in mind with this skill right here is that when you actually cast it, okay, so when you have like 2 out of 3 for your passive, it can actually push the enemies away. So let's try doing it here. So this will give you like 1 light and dark casts, and if you look at that, he actually fell down on the floor, and whenever enemies fall down on the floor, they can just dash out and will be able to proc a lot of super armors that way. So it's more consistent if you actually do this one while the enemies are like in a wall or by the wall, right? Somewhere like this one right here. Okay, so this will actually prevent that scenario from happening. So you have your Ancient Echoes available for your combo. Ancient Echo jump. And yeah, you will be able to push them, but they will still be taking the whole damage. Okay? The beauty of this combo is that you can also actually leave the enemy much earlier. Right? And then you can just leave them and they will go past HP threshold and you will be able to disengage right away. So this is really good, and yeah, really good against Berserker, Starbreaker in Magiblades, especially if they have energy remaining at the end of your combo. So it allows you to not get caught by them and play a defensive stance after they recover from that damage. Okay, another fun thing that you can do, especially against Elementalists, Gunners, and maybe even Blade Maidens, is to just stand on top of their bodies or maybe close to their bodies if you have like 30% energy remaining and they have 0 energy remaining after your combo. So this is a good time to actually learn when to save energy and when to just burst them down, because especially against Gunners and Elementalists, they can't do anything close range. So if they have 0 energy, they will try to run out because they will be so afraid of you being so close. So they will be burning their dashes. And after you see them burn their dash, just use projection and hit them again. You will almost always just get a free HP protection as well, again, from this. Doing this one just after you do a full combo. So you get to full combo them again. Even with just 1 projection, basic attack combo plus 1 more skill, that should be good enough. But if not, it's just projection plus 2 basic rotations. That's already good enough. And it's actually very terrifying if you get to manage your energy this way against these classes. Okay, last thing that I will be sharing for Scytheguard mains is going to be jumping before ulting. So this is a pretty cool tech, but there are some things that you have to keep in mind with this one. So you have to understand first that your ult is around the Photon Blast range. So this is your range for your ult. So if you just go outside, Photon Blast will not hit. If you try it with ult, it will not hit as well. Okay, so keep in mind that your range is Photon Blast range, okay? And your ult, basically, if you hit your ult, enemy will be suspended in air for a little bit, and you will be able to follow up with like a basic attack if you follow up quick enough. Especially in the air, right? You can jump and then basic them from the air, but you can also just do it normally. Right? You can just do it normally, but you need to have a 1 dash for it. Okay, so now the trick is that if they are slightly out of range, right? Slightly out of range, so this is out of range, you can actually jump and then ult. You can see here, you actually hit them, right? You can actually hit them, but you're missing the first part of the ult, okay? You are not gonna hit the first part of the ult, but you will hit the second part of the ult. The problem with this one is that you don't have the medium armor break part. You only have the damage, but I think sometimes the damage is enough. You also have the strong super armor with it. Okay, so if you're just trying to finish off an opponent, quick hit with them is just jump ult. Okay, again, first part will not hit, but it's still pretty good if they are out of range and you want to surprise them, especially if they're trying to jump you, right? But you can always just normally turn around or run and try to bait them in and just ult instantly, because your second ult, this thing right here has aimbot anyway, right? So even if you're facing the other side, your ult will auto aim to the enemy. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. So that's your jump ult. So you have to keep in mind again that whenever your character is dashing, the first part will not hit if you are out of range. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it for all the tips and tricks that I have for the Scytheguard. If you guys have your own tips and tricks that I have not shown in this video, maybe the whirlwind sight, long range whirlwind sight, which I uploaded before, something like that, let us know in the comments below. Okay, so thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys again next time. GG's.